Hey everybody, welcome once again to the Mr. Extraordin Talks podcast. I'm with a special guest. It goes by the name of Phulusho Desmond Ngomane. I hope I didn't butcher any of your names or your surname. I
Nah, it's
didn't.
fine. It's fine. It's fine. Just that, like, I hardly hear the Desmond one, so like, but
Oh,
yeah,
okay. But I'm sure
yeah,
at school they probably call you Desmond.
yeah. Like, for just to make it easier for people, because
Sure. Is it
yeah,
or is it Phulusho?
uh, like how you pronounce it, like in
Doesn't
any
matter.
like Tswana language or Pedi or whatever. Like how
Sure.
you pronounce it, like it's how I like it, Joe, regardless of like the phonetics of it. Because
Mm,
for me, I personally believe that like it's spelled wrong, but yeah, it's fine though. Cause
I get you.
yeah, cause I realized in my adulthood that like it's actually like PHOLOSHO or either SO,
Mm,
like in some
mm,
cases, but
yeah.
mine it's always strange because I get that question a lot as to like why.
Right.
Because I used to like laugh whenever like I request like an Uber or Bolt and the person happens to be Pedi or Tsonga
Yeah.
or Tswana. They'd be like, so are you Pedi, Tsonga, Sotho or what? And I'm like, nah, I'm Swati. So
Oh,
that's also strange because
okay.
I don't even speak like Pedi, Tswana, Tsonga, but but yeah,
Okay. So, my brother, where are you from originally? Like,
I'm from Pumalang.
okay.
Game game. It's like off the outskirts of Hazy View and White River. It's in between.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So let's say you're going to Kruger National Park, ne?
Hmm.
You're likely to use the Numbi Gate, of which you pass through where I stay, if you're using the
Oh,
Numbi Gate. So we're close to like the Numbi Gate to Kruger National Park. Yeah.
oh, I see. So, you've probably been at Kruger National Park more than most of us, I guess.
Yeah, cause like there's cases where like animals do like escape. So yeah, like
Yo,
the
yo.
radio station will like notify you. But we're a bit far from like where they normally get to like engage with
Oh.
the animals. But yeah, it's close still. So if there's a lion on the loose, it could make it to where I stay. So I'm just saying, yeah.
Okay. And so, are you the only child, or do you have like 10 brothers and sisters, or are
Nah,
you?
like I actually I'm the fifth out of six kids.
Oh, man. Wow. And how was that like growing up, bro, as the fifth child? Did you get like the smallest piece of chicken in the house when they were serving food? Or, you know how it is.
Uh, not really, not really. It's you know like how family dynamics are when like you're like a lot in a family. So there's
Mm.
like a lot of things passed down to you. You hardly ever get like new stuff, but
Yeah, like
it's
clothes, no? Like your
yeah.
clothes are passed down. Like you get the socks that have been worn by like your older brothers or sisters.
Nah, not socks. Like I'm quite particular about my things. Like other things, yeah, but socks, it's too like intimate now.
I
it's
get you. I get
it's
you.
yeah, it's too much.
Oh, okay. So, um, how did you get into art, my brother? What caused you to say, you know what, I want to venture into this thing? Were you watching cartoons or were you inspired by someone?
I'd say like it's because of like the cartoons, but like also my other siblings, they are quite good at like doing what I do,
Oh,
but
really?
they sort of like yeah let it go. So Yeah.
Okay, so what cartoons did you watch, man, like growing up that inspired you to?
Pretty much like Dragon Ball Z, SAPC 1, SAPC 2, anything that was on
Yeah,
ETV, SAPC 3,
sure.
SAPC 2 and 1.
Mm.
Yeah, pretty much I had most of that in rotation.
Wow.
But in terms of like the one that actually did it for me, it was like Dragon Ball Z. Because like when it came to
Yeah.
like merchandising, they had like that
Yes.
Simba partnership. Yeah, like
Yes.
based on like having a lot of like access to people who were buying them a lot, and also like gambling, like when you used to play the Tazos. Yeah, like it
Yeah.
was because of that, because I ended up having so much that I was like, I can pretty much like draw these things and stuff like that. And yeah,
Wow.
I used to do like art and culture book decorations for my classmates. Yeah,
Wow.
like I've done a lot of them. They used to like, like when you're a child, like 2 rand was a lot. Or
That was a
even
lot.
just like
Yeah.
someone buying you like your lunch, it was a lot. You couldn't ask for anything else.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh wow, man. You're right, man. Like those Simba chips, that was a brilliant marketing strategy because it made so many kids buy those things just because we wanted what was inside. But you had no choice but to eat the chips as well. So that was very smart of them.
Yeah, I wish like more of them could like come back, but like as in come back, but I wish like for them to actually like partner up with like things that are like from here, cause
Yeah.
they were pretty much like is it importing? They pretty much like imported like Asian culture into our shores,
Right.
of which I'm
Right.
a fan of like Asian culture. I don't wanna lie, like they make cool things.
Yeah.
But now I feel like we have like people who can bring in like more narratives that
Mm,
are better fit for like the current like climate for like
right.
South African kids and the youth and stuff like that.
It's funny because before they did that whole Pokemon Dragon Ball thing, they used to do soccer players, like local soccer players. Um, Even though it was for a short amount of time. So you're right. I mean, if you were to find like a Amapiano artist or whoever, like a chrome artist or whatever, or some South African actors, that would be great, man. To have those on a Tazo, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I feel like we need more like let me say like more collectibles from like South Africans, like South African
Mm, mm,
musicians. I feel like once maybe you're at like that altitude where like maybe you're known globally, you can venture off into like making stuff out of yourself that can be like collectibles, and then they actually like build up value over time. Because
right.
I know like people who collect like Funko Pops that are actually like worth a lot of money, even like comic books that are
Mm,
actually like worth a lot of money in terms of like
right.
resale value. So I
Right.
feel like if we actually like get there in terms of like South African musicians, actors, just like people
Mm,
who are within like the art faculty
right.
as a whole, they get there, I feel like that would be actually amazing.
Oh man, that's something that I didn't really even think that we'll talk about, but you're right, man. You are absolutely
No,
right.
no, because it's stuff that you actually do like sit down and think about when you have your
Mm,
time. But like sometimes your imagination, it does end up feel like you're actually demanding a lot from people who are way there.
mm,
So it's
mm,
better that you actually try and implement it and see like who can adopt it and also like invest in it, as opposed to like shoving it down like people's throats.
mm,
So
right.
that's another thing.
But I also think the media needs to push a bit more on the African artists or rather local artists. Because like back in the 90s, né, I remember when Mandela was president and all of that.
Yeah.
South Africa was pushing a lot of South African content. Like your Boom Shakas and your Tevez and all these musicians. Like Kwaito was huge because it was everywhere, bro. We were seeing them on Selima Tunzi and all those shows, Gem Early, and so it's like that's what we're missing now. We're missing all those shows. We're missing all that media coverage, And I think the more we have that, the more valuable anything that an artist takes out will become. I don't know about you, but I think that's the media needs to contribute or play a bigger role in what they're doing right now. Because I feel like they're pushing more of Western media. Like you said, they're also pushing Asian media, but they're also pushing a lot of. I mean, most of us are watching Netflix and Disney Plus, but back then SABC was the thing. Like that's all we had, and we were pushing a lot of South African stuff, and that's why we love these people so much. They were superstars in our eyes growing up.
Yeah, but now here's like the I so wanna say something, but I feel like it's profanity. But here's
Go for
like
it, bro.
here's like the mind fuck, ne? You see like when it comes to like platforms like Netflix, they are actually like investing into like the media faculty of like the country, because you do get like your kind of what are those shows that are actually like based in South Africa, shot and acted by South Africans. You do actually get those, and they actually do champion them to a point where they are actually like in top tens globally. Why is like the SABC failing to do the same thing and champion the stuff we do into the global market? Because for them, I feel like the only thing they champion is global stuff, and then they shove them down our throats. But when we come up with stuff that we feel like it can be like of a global status, you hardly you have to like jump like so many hurdles in order for you to just like get that production. If you're not even jumping hurdles, you're just gonna be scammed out of your own idea, and then it's credited to someone other than you. So that's the thing that's always like discombobulating when you think about it.
Right.
Now the globe is actually like noticing what we actually have here, but the people that we have here who actually have the means to actually champion us into like the bigger global masses, they don't care. They only recognize you once the people from outside have actually like said, now we vindicate you as like the best there is in Africa and also the world. That's when they wanna come and then champion you. Of which I'm like, Joe, it's not actually making sense. It's not making sense. Because it's just like being like a university like alumni, Joe. Like when you're struggling to make your ends meet, ne, the university is hush hush, Joe. But once you get something, ne, now they go to like their encyclopedia of like records and see, oh, we have this person on board. Now they take out articles on like their university publishing spaces, of which it is cool. But Echo, rather like you champion them while they are still like being molded by your institution, so that like they have like an easier transitioning position into like the industry or whatever it is they want to do, other than you coming to claim the credit. Because I did pay you my school fees. What if like I actually say, Echo, don't credit me on anything that I achieve. I paid you what you wanted. Because if you were giving me this thing for free, yes, you can talk about me as much as you want, but I paid for it. So I feel like there's a certain discretion when I want not to be claimed by you. Because Ejo, once you pay for something, how you use it afterwards, it should be up to you as to how you're using it.
Right.
But
I think Elon Musk went through something similar, didn't he? Where the school, I think the high school that he went to in Pretoria, they were starting to talk about him, and he was like, "Hi guys, no, please, no, I was bullied there." I don't know if it's true, but I heard that story that he didn't have the best time there, so he was like, "No, please don't mention my name and stuff like that." You know.
Yeah, so like for me, that's also like my sentiments. Ukuthi, Joe, like you go through like some of the harshest conditions when it comes to like assimilating and adjusting to like university standards,
Right.
and also like the suffering that it comes with. But at the end of the day, Joe, they just like casually claim you as if like you're some livestock they gave birth to. So not that like I'm throwing jabs there, but Joe, if you
Yeah.
look at like our current like climate of like procuring employment, it's fucked up, Joe.
Right.
And Joe,
Right.
like the only thing they are happy for is that like you went under their faculties of learning, and that's it, Joe. After that,
Mm.
would you're getting a job or not, they don't
They
care.
don't care. They don't care. Yeah. Well, others do care because you get reps who try to get your job, but it's not a lot of those that do that. So
Uh,
you're right. You're right.
it's
But
not a lot. That's the thing.
yeah,
It's not a lot,
yeah.
Joe. Cause,
Mm,
cause because I think like you get abo after they do expose you to like a whole lot of things. And sorry for name dropping after, but yeah, they do expose you to like a whole lot of things. Because
mm,
for me now, like most of the things that I'm doing now, I'm self-taught. So you
mm.
see, like I could be claimed for something that I didn't even like study at like an institution, but it's just me doing
Right.
it. But just
Right.
because like I was actually associated to like a certain institution, you see like where it goes.
Mm, mm. So you mentioned that you were do you there's some stuff that you're doing. Can you tell us what those are, man?
Yeah, like for me, I do like illustrations and sneaker designs. But now I'm mostly like doing illustrations and also like a bit of like multimedia, but like I'm still like in the learning phase of like
Mm,
editing videos and stuff like that. But
mm,
yeah, I do like illustrations and sneaker designs, and I was fortunate enough that I did like work for like one of the biggest South African brands that are
wow.
currently producing sneakers.
Wow.
And I started working for them like late 2016, of which I was doing my second year. And
Mm,
yeah, like I freelanced for them from 2016 until 2019, and then 2019 I went in like full-time employment under them. And then yeah, but now like I'm currently like riding solo dolo, like it's just me myself. But yeah, I did like work for Batu. I did design their sneaker
wow.
lines. Yeah.
Wow. Man, that's amazing, man. And how has that experience been for you, man? Doing something that became so huge in the country.
Joe, like for me, like I'm hardly someone who likes like taking credit, Joe. I
Yeah.
don't know, like it does feel like a big thing, but to me it wasn't. Like I was just like, this is just another day, Joe. Maybe maybe it's because like like when you're born into just being on survival mode, Joe, nothing is like
Mm,
grand, or you're
mm,
like, oh
mm.
wow.
Right.
It's just like it is what it is. I did that. On to the next. But sometimes I do look at it. It was like a great platform because yeah, like it was something that was not actually new to me, but it
Right.
was when I was actually like a neophyte designer, because like I actually saw some YouTube tutorials and I was like, if I can try this, I can do it. So I got to my laptop, and then yeah, I started like learning as to like how you need to build like a foundation of like a sneaker, designing the whole thing. Yeah, so from there, after learning that, like I started posting my work on Instagram, of
Mm.
which like Instagram 2016, like it wasn't like big. It was
Yeah.
big, but
Yeah.
I think it had like 6 years of like it being functional. It wasn't like that grand.
Sure.
Because even then, getting access to Wi-Fi, it was hard. It was hard. I told
Yeah.
you that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so from there, I posted my work on Facebook, Instagram, and then they actually like inboxed me on like Instagram and were like, "Yo, we like what you're doing," and we have something here, and yeah, I feel like you could be like an asset to the growing company that we're building here. And I was like,
Wow.
it's
Wow.
chill.
That's amazing, bro.
So yeah, they like,
I didn't even know this. I honestly had no idea.
no, you see, hence like I say
Mm,
like I just like being anonymous. It feels good. I don't know, like, because
right.
I sometimes it's great like not having like any public attachments to like anything.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
I just like that because like yeah, I feel like being anonymous, it makes me feel like some villain somewhere where I'm like, yes, yes, I'm doing all these things, no one has to know about it. But yeah,
Yeah.
once people know about it, they're like, wow, wow, and I'm like, I thought you knew, but
But what are some of the challenges that you're facing in general as an artist, man?
mm, for me, I'd honestly say Chal- challenges, load shedding has to be the one
Mm,
on the list.
mm,
And for me, I'd say like it's load shedding, because I know there are challenges that other people face, but for me, I just like have like a plethora of like information at my exposure,
right.
of which I can use as I please. Because one thing that I've actually realized is that the more you dwell on like the problems, the more you become like unable to actually produce from a place of health. So I try by all means not to think about what is it that's actually wrong that I would actually love to change. Of course, maybe if there's one thing I'd love to change is like how normally like us people, black people, have like a certain perception about art, and actually when someone says they want
Mm,
to study art, for me that's
right.
the only thing I'd say that's actually like a problem that I'd like
Yeah.
to have
Yeah.
fixed.
Yeah, because it seems like we're not taken seriously. It's as if we're just pushing a hobby, but this is a serious career path,
Yeah,
you know?
because sorry to make this joke, but
Yeah.
I hope like people don't take it in a wrong way, because I also saw it on Facebook while I was scrolling. And should the person see it, I forgot your name, but I think you'll know. So someone actually said that like coming out to your family and telling them that you wanna study art, they get the same disappointment as you coming out of the closet and saying I'm gay. That's the same disappointment they
Yo.
get.
Wow. Wow.
Because
Imagine. Mm,
for me, I'd say like it's actually quite true, because they do look at you like in a way where they're like, is this person like for real, Joe?
yeah, 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 yeah. But look, man, at the end of the day, we shouldn't bury our talents, no matter who thinks what, you know. Because if we're being honest, artists have contributed so much to the world, and we take that for granted. How iPhones look, you know what I'm saying? Buildings, architecture, bridges, superhero movies that we watch, the headphones that we use, the chairs that we sit on. Someone had to draw it or design it. You know what I'm saying? And it's looked down on, but that's the truth. The cars we drive, someone had to sit down and draw these things.
Yeah, the problem is that it is true, but the problem is that like when you try and explain it in that way, they'll try and get it, but they're like, no, how, no, you need to do something, something productive with your
Right,
lives.
right,
So,
right.
but
No,
yeah,
that's
for me, like in my case, I'm just like, that's one thing that I would want changed, like how people perceive it, and also like
mm,
how we engage with it. Because if I go to an art gallery with someone, based on like how they engage with the art, I can tell that like they
yeah.
want to touch the actual thing, but when you tell them don't touch it, they are like, why must I not touch it? And you're like, bruh, like it's actually precious to, because
Mm,
the making of it, or it's like you actually like carrying and then giving birth to a child. That's how
100%.
precious It is.
100%.
And someone wouldn't actually get that because, like, you'd be there sitting with, like, wet paint and someone comes and touches and they're like, oh, it's wet. And then you're like, but you ruined my perfect blending.
Right. So, are there any artists that you look up to, man? Like that inspire you? Yeah. When you see the stuff every time, you feel like, wow, I need to sit down and draw something now.
I can say there are people that inspire me, but I've stopped looking at like how they do stuff from a place of like tremendous like reverence to a point where I'm like, oh my god, I need to switch on my tablet and start drawing.
Right.
Nah, but for me to actually name a few, I'm gonna name a lot who are actually like from here in South Africa.
Please, man. Yeah.
Yeah, cause there's Randall Rex.
Makanya.
Yeah, that guy, he's a beast, bruh. He's a
Yeah,
beast.
no, he is. I had him. I think I had him. I had him either yesterday or the day before. I was actually talking to him about his artistic journey. He's a brilliant guy. Brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah, so that there's Rex, and then there's Karabo Popi. With them, it's so special. With like, I got exposed to them in 2016 when I started like focusing on like digital illustration, cause that's when they were actually like doing the murals in Bram, doing collabs with like
Wow.
a lot of like brands that were actually up there, and also like African Ginger. I got like introduced to his stuff when he did like the collab with like New Balance. I think they were launching a sneaker and he had to do something for New Balance. That's when I first like caught like a glimpse of what he does. And then there's Venus Bambisa, and
Okay.
then there's Terence Maluleke, and then
Yeah,
there's
Terence Nsako, ne?
yeah.
Yeah, hey, that guy is that guy
And
is he's great, man.
yeah, and then there's Panda exclamated. Like you see like Terence, Panda, Mohau. I keep on
Mohau,
forget.
who's Mohau?
He's also like friends with like Terence, and then Panda, and who's the other guy? Oh, bruh, like there are a lot of people, because for me like I just like look at their stuff, and then there's Litabo Huma, and then there's Ben Abstract, and then there's Mpo Jacobs, and then there's Daniela at Doodles, and then there's Koki, and then there's Amanda Joy, and then there's who? Your local sewage. What? Let me check her name because I can't butcher her name. There's also Nandipa Janchis.
I think I heard that name before. Nandi Padanti sounds familiar.
Yeah. Because I actually don't want to butcher her surname, bruh.
Sure.
But oh yeah, just as I'm speaking about her, I see something of hers. Yeah, it's Ursula Makunga. Yeah.
Oh, Ursula Makunga. Okay.
Yes. And then yeah, let me go and actually name the other person from like that normally chills with about Terrence.
Sure.
Oh, there's also, I'm remembering the name now. April, like this is a lot of people, cause I wanna mention all of them.
Take your time, bro. Take your time. This is a podcast, so please take your time because I believe they deserve to be mentioned.
No, bro, not that they deserve it. They are already there, bro. They just
yeah.
they just like do a whole lot of things to.
Yeah. No, but I can tell by the way you're mentioning them that you really admire.
Yeah. Actually, the problem. Oh, also I also forgot like this huge mention. Slaying Goliath. That's another giant too. Because just seeing them doing it, and then like seeing like how our current climate is in South Africa, and then seeing guys doing it as big as that, it is inspirational too. Oh, and there's also Devin Andrews, Dave Andrews, dope guy, dope guy. Oh, bruh.
Dev Andrew sounds familiar. What does he do again? DAV Andrew, right? What does he
Yeah.
do again?
He does comics and then illustrations. He used to work for Super Strikers.
Yeah, man. That name sounds familiar. I
Yeah.
think I've heard his. I think I've seen his name somewhere before. What do
Yeah.
you think about Loyiso Mkhize?
Oh, I was actually coming to that, Joe, cause him and Clyde Beach,
Yes.
with what like they did with like
Kwezi.
Crazy, and
Mm.
also them coming from Super Strikers and then like
Right.
launching their own comic. Yo,
Yeah.
bruh, that's actually huge. And I also saw that like they are getting like a live animation uh
Mm.
of like the comic. Yo,
Yeah.
bruh, like I actually have the
Yeah.
comic, bruh. I was like,
Yeah.
yo,
Did you see the
I
trailer, bro, of that
yeah,
animation? It
yeah,
looks really
I
good,
did
eh?
too good, bruh. Like
Yeah.
you see, also the same thing that like our Terrence did for Disney, bruh,
Mm.
bruh. Just think
Mm.
about
Mm.
it, Joe.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
from South Africa, bruh. Come on. You see,
Right.
like, bruh,
Right.
like every time, like I just look at like what they do, and also just looking at like where we are living in, Joe. Like this is like
Mm.
amazing, Joe.
Right.
Yo,
Right. Right.
crazy, bruh.
So your work, the work that you produce, where do you get these ideas from? Do they just pop in your head or
For me, like it's mostly like anime. Like I watch like a whole lot of anime. So yeah, like bruh, like even today I have to watch One Piece, and then I
yeah,
watch Zom 100, and then I watch Bleach, and then
right.
yeah, like I watch like a whole lot of things, Joe. Like
Mm.
that's my addiction, Joe.
I know
But
anime is good. Anime is really, really good.
bruh, like
Yeah.
yo, One
Yeah.
Piece has been like carrying, like 2023, they've been carrying Demon Slayer, carrying,
Mm,
bruh,
mm, mm, mm,
crazy. So
mm.
for me, like I feed off from like a lot of like animation, and also just like being black, Joe. Like I feel like there's a whole lot of things you can
Yeah.
contextualize.
Right.
But for me, like one thing that I sort of like never seen like feeding off into my work, it's the hair, because most times I do illustrations, ne, I
Mm-hmm.
end up like zoning out when I'm doing the hair, because I'm like, wow, like painting hair, it is like therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
So I used to like focus on the face, and
Mm.
people would be like, yo, this looks so cool, but like the hair. So I was like, I didn't see myself like speaking about hair, but I might as well just like speak about it.
Mm.
Because for me, like another thing that I normally try and push across is just like being beautiful as like a black person. That's also like another thing that I advocate for whenever I'm doing like an artwork. Because
Right.
I feel like we're mostly that one race that's actually policed a lot when it comes to like having decorum. Because I
Right.
feel like it comes to like dress code, you're policed when you're a black person. Hair, you're policed as a black person. A whole lot of things that you do, you're likely to be policed by other races. So for me, I feel like we end up seeing those things as like in a bad light, but I feel like we can make them be seen in like a better light too, because it's
Mm.
just like having dreadlocks too. If let's say like maybe you're just like a black guy with dreadlocks and you're modeling, some people can see that as a kink, but then some people can say, oh, you're a drug addict just because you have dreadlocks, and they can associate it with like a whole lot of things that are just like way too wrong. Because for me, there's one thing that I always say, Echo, why is it when you get like your Eric or Mark who has like a fringe of like their hair and it's not even combed, they're gonna be like, oh, that's so cool, that's hippie. But you come with your uncombed hair, oh no, untidy, oh no, do something about your hair, oh no. But Joe, why is it Jacob can rock their mohawk, Joe, angayikami? No one complains or bats an eye, Joe.
Right.
But when Joe, you wake up in the morning and you go to a store, Joe, with your hair looking whatever it looks like, Joe, umuntu uzokubuka kabi as if awukakizi, Joe. Like I kid you not, you can take a shower, Joe, and put on like your oud, your cologne, and go somewhere just because awukakami, Joe. Umuntu yaze ageze abe muhle and then decide ukungakami yini lento leyo, Joe. But uJacob no Mark, Joe, abasho fokol. When it comes to Jacob no Mark, no one is batting an eye.
That's true.
Cause Joe, I've seen it a lot to a point where Joe, like it ends up like being disgusting, Joe. And the way it's so actually like discombobulating is that like now you also get black people who are black like me, who have like who have like the same hair texture as me, being disgusted by something that they also carry on top of like their scalp. Because umuntu uzokubheka akujudge from just your hairstyle and be like, no, this guy doesn't know any better. That time you possibly know a whole lot of things, Joe.
Do you think it has to do with Western indoctrination?
Yeah. Hence, I refer to Abu Mark and Jacob a lot. Because not that like I'm throwing shade or anything, but it's something that I see, Joe. Like I do hang out with like white people.
Sure.
And Joe, like the best thing is that to them, Joe, like they are carrying their hair proudly, Joe. But for me to actually do that, I need to think about this bongseni or spam ukuthi uzothini uma angibona ngiqhamuka so that's like another thing that's actually like wrong. Because in term, I know like a whole lot of people like champion for like meritocracy, proving your merits and whatnot. You can fully apply for a job, land the interview, and then when you get there, they see you like with your hair looking a certain way. They'd be like, nah, this guy
doesn't
look
professional.
Yeah, you don't look professional. But I'm like, if you're actually advocating and championing for like meritocracy, why aren't you actually like looking at my merits, credentials, and actually making a decisions of that, regardless of like my presentation?
Judge me on the quality of work that I produce, not on how I look.
Yeah, because this is one thing that I always say, Udi. I understand, Udi. There is like certain rules that you have to adhere to, but for me, I always say, if it doesn't actually like strain me in any way, that it goes to a certain point where it hinders like my productivity, is it actually a problem to the company, or is it actually a problem to you individually?
Look, it would make sense if maybe you don't bath and you smell bad. Then that's something they can address, because at the end of the day, people need to be comfortable to be in a safe space. But if it really doesn't affect them whatsoever, like you just said, if you still smell fine, but you just rock your hair the way you want to, then I don't understand what the problem is. In fact, sometimes that speaks to you being an artist more than anything, because artists don't really like don't like being put in a box. They like to do their own thing. They express themselves in different ways. That's why some rock stars would have like purple hair and all of that.
You see,
Yeah.
you see, Ebra, like hair, it's a form of expression, Joe.
Right.
But like people wanna restrict you and box you based on like what is it that actually makes them feel comfortable. Cause
right.
for me, like another person who I actually saw like breaking the mold and showing like African parents, Udi, sometimes just expressing yourself with your hair, it does actually go a long way. It was Shoma Josie, blah. I remember parents going crazy, blah, saying, yo, now I need to buy all these colors. Oh, but
for
my
the kids.
child, but my child is on my neck. She wants this. But let me ask you, do you think you would be doing that in 2005? Would you be doing that?
No, you
You
wouldn't.
wouldn't.
And I feel like we're not giving Nandi, is it Nandi Ngoma?
Oh, yeah, like
enough credit.
She also brought a whole wave. But before Nandi Ngomane, I say Rebecca Malubi is the champion.
100%.
She walked.
100%.
She's the one who walked. So that I mean, she's the one who crawled and slithered on her chest so that they could crawl and walk, Baba, and 100%. Run with it, Joe.
100%. I was really happy to see a lot of women trying the Nandingoma hairstyle. Like, bro, like you went from people who used to wear weaves, and after that Nandingoma phase, most of them stopped. Like most of them just stopped putting on weaves altogether. They would just maybe do braids and stuff like that. You're like, oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, but for me, there's also like another thing that I want to highlight. It's not like I'm saying with like people shouldn't also go for like exotic hair,
right?
For enhancing their looks and also making themselves feel good. I'm not saying they should actually stop that. I'm all for whatever faceted way you want to do in terms of like you actually expressing yourself. I'm all for it.
Right.
So like for me, I'm just saying if you wanna do a straight back cornrows, even afro, you should do it, Joe. And no one should actually feel like you're sort of like out of line and you're not like adhering to like any sort of like decorum that's set in place by the court of like public opinion.
Right.
Because Joe, like for me, I just feel like being black, you get policed a lot, Joe. Sometimes
that's true.
Because like for me, let's say like I casually like walk to like, let's say like I'm in Rosebank and I'm going to my friend's place somewhere like in Houghton or Saxonwell. Just me being black and dressed in a certain way and having my hair in a certain way, securities would be like on their walkie-talkies, like monitor this guy, Joe. That time you're there casually cruising, Joe, going to see your mate.
Minding your own business.
Minding your own business, Joe. Like, Joe, like sometimes you ask yourself, Udi, being black is actually nice, Joe, but sometimes it's actually dangerous.
I mean, look at what's happening in America. Sometimes in certain states, some people just get killed, man, by the cops for just taking a walk, going to the shops.
Yeah, because Joe, like another thing in the States, if you have dreadlocks, by default, you have drugs, you have weapons, you're gang affiliated, a whole lot of things you see by just like you carrying your hair in a specific way. But let's say you're black and famous. Oh, that's a wave, that's a style. But still, you could be targeted because like the police, they don't even care whether you're Kendrick, you're Mang, as long as you're black.
Right.
It's tea time, Joe.
Right.
So, Joe, for me, I feel like when it comes to like actually being policed, Joe, when it comes to black people, Joe, there's no bounds, Joe. There's no bounds. You could be dressed in a suit just because you're black, Joe. Your skin, it already like invalidates your yourself into like being in that space, and you're like, wow, that's crazy, Joe.
As if you don't belong there, but you do belong there, probably.
Joe.
You sound so passionate about this topic. Are you an avid reader of Black consciousness and Pan-Africanism or anything of that sort, or what?
I do read. I do read a lot of books, but for me, like I'm not one to actually sit down in one go and then like I want to like swallow the whole book. I
Sure.
just do like bits and bits of it. But I did read like Frantz Fanon,
Okay.
like Frantz Fanon. I did read him,
I'm not
and then
familiar with France. I honestly am not.
don't you know like the Wretched of the Earth,
I don't.
black skin, white masks.
That title, I'm familiar with the title, but I don't know the author, if that makes sense.
Oh, but for me, I feel like for black skins and white masks, it's so multifaceted to a point where you'd actually feel like he's actually attacking like the black person who's actually from the cities, because he'd be like, yeah, black people who are in the city, they wanna go back to Emakaya and flex on people, of which it is true. It is
It's
true.
true. It's
It's
true
true.
to a certain degree. It's true.
It's true. It's true. Cause
Right.
yeah, there was a segment on black skins and white masks where he was actually talking about that. But my biggest mindfuck is that I actually found out that like he was actually married to a white person, and I was like,
but
what?
but but that's what usually happens though. Some of the people who are black conscious, or rather who are, I guess, yeah, who are really focused on black identity and being the best you can be. Some of them you'll be shocked that they're actually married to white people. It's fascinating.
Yeah, like I was like, interesting. But for me, like another thing that I also get to like is that they don't filter themselves still. That's
Mm,
crazy.
mm,
Cause you know, like just like being associated to like white people, you know, like to other black people by default, you're a sellout, you're a stooge, you're a coon. You see, like they look at you like in a different way. Cause like for me, ne, I can chop it up ekasi and be like that. Chop it up in the suburbs and be like that, Joe. I
right,
can chop it like to so many levels,
right.
but people would want to actually like pin you down to the fact that like, oh, you know someone who's white. Now I'm questioning like your credibility to you actually championing like blackness, or you even like being associated to anything that involves being black. We're questioning your credentials right now. But
Mm,
Ejone, for me, like I always say one thing, Ejo, regardless of like race, creed, and
right,
whatever, ne, Ejo,
right.
bad people are everywhere, Ejo.
Yeah,
Ejo,
yeah,
if there's black conmens, there's white conmens. If there's white conmens, there's Asian conmens.
right,
There's Indian conmens, Joe. There's
right,
colored conmens, Joe.
right. We're all human,
We're all
and
human
and
at
we
the
share
end of
the
the day.
same things. We have similar issues. We have family dynamics that are similar, even though the cultures might be different. But
Yeah,
I remember I was doing a presentation a few years ago at church, and you know how some of the churches would have different people from different walks of life, and I was just showing them things like uh, toothpaste that is cut in half, because it's not month end yet, or a sunlight green bar, things like that. And I was asking like, did you grow up experiencing these things? And most of them did. And you can see that it doesn't matter if you're from Nigeria or Burkina Faso or whatever. Some of us go through the same things.
yeah. You see that's what I'm saying. But like at the end of the day, Joe, like I know, Joe, like we come from like prehistoric trauma globally.
Right.
It's still like triumphing till this day, Joe. But like
Mm,
at the end of the day, Joe, I feel like we need to like look at it from like multifaceted perspectives and
right.
actually says, okay, Mark is rocking with us. Mark can rock with us, Joe. If
Right.
he is about that. But like if
Right.
he's not, then hey, Joe, he's not. Who am I to force him, Joe?
Right.
Because I feel like at the end of the day, Joe, like most black people, they grovel a lot to a point where I feel like they want to be loved by white people so bad to a point where
Mm,
it's even like messing up like their psyches, Joe, because they end
right.
up having like
Right.
a whole lot of like cognitive like dissonance as to
Right.
like
Right.
I'm working with like Kobas,
Right.
but I come back to chill with Spa. Sorry to making a reference about
Sure.
Spa. Like
Sure.
abazonqolela who are gonna be listening. Ne?
Sure.
But why is it that like I need to like have like a sort of like cognitive dissonance
Right.
when I'm with Spa? I'm like uKobas uyangijwayela kabi Joe, and then when I'm with Kobas, I'm like uSpa ungijwayela kabi Joe.
Right.
Joe, if I'm
Right.
condemning you for being out of line, Joe, I should condemn Kobas and Spa the same way, Joe.
Right. Right.
But like a whole lot of people, they feel like when you're hanging with like uKobas, Joe, wena umamela isicathulo sikakobas ukuthi sikhala kanjani, of which I'm
Mm,
telling like no, Joe, uyabheda, no. Cause
mm,
like Joe,
mm,
I
mm,
do have
mm.
fallouts with like white people, and I'm like, hey Joe, that's out of line, Joe.
Right. Right.
So I'm condemning you. Same thing I do, like when I'm with like a fellow black person, and I'm like, hey Joe. But
Don't do that. Don't say that. Right.
I understand like your angle as to like where
Mm,
you're coming from. But
mm.
but like sometimes, Joe, you actually need to like gauge the whole situation and see as to like how it unfolds. If they are throwing hands, now you throw hands, really. You can't let like someone like
Right.
subjugate you with
Right.
words, and then they wanna take like affirmative action on
Right.
top of that. But
Right.
for me, I'm just saying, Joe, like condemn everyone as you would condemn anyone, Joe.
Mm,
But you know, with us, because it's also like another thing, ne? Just you like knowing how to like use your brain and just like being loved by everybody from all walks of life. Black
right.
people would be like, you're actually a sellout, but you're like, hey Joe, like I'm sharing what I know. Am I supposed to
Right.
like restrict it to only you? But me, if I'm talking to you about it, you laugh at me and
Right.
say, why are you talking about like rocket science right now, Joe? We should
Mm,
be doing something else. But when I'm
right.
speaking with them, they totally get my drift and angle.
Mm. You mentioned cognitive dissonance, and you mentioned a lot of books that you're reading. Are you? Oh, did you get this cognitive dissonance thing from W.B. Du Bois? Or
I did came up I do come up across it like from like a whole lot of books, especially like psychological books. Like
right.
you do get like your cognitive dissonance,
Right.
and you also get like your Stockholm syndrome.
Right.
You
Right.
know like those terms, you do get them
Right.
a lot too. So
Right. Right.
sometimes you end up like chopping it like without knowing. So
And what do those things? What have those things done to you, man? On a mental, did they challenge you mentally for you to actually do some introspection and figure out where you are as a human being in this world?
yeah, it does actually like challenge you to actually like gauge yourself like internally and
Right.
also externally. Because
Mm,
for me, I feel like life itself, Joe, it's like a series of like instantaneous perpetual struggles, Joe.
right.
It's
Right.
everything is just like recurring struggles, Joe. The
Right.
only thing you can do is to always like sit down, introspect, gauge the whole entire scenario, and actually come up with a solution that can actually aid you in like combating the problem. so that you advance into solving another recurring problem that's gonna actually like elevate your psyche, physique, and also
Right.
code of conduct.
And you see, I've noticed that if you don't come up with solutions to those problems, they end up repeating themselves until you get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
That,
that's truly fascinating, bro. I'm in awe actually to have this discussion with you about these things. I thought we were just going to talk about art, but I like the fact that you know we are actually talking about psychology, especially of when it comes to the black person, the black human being. Are there any other things that seem to spike your interest within the black community with regards to how we behave? Perhaps maybe relationships, how we see those?
Joe, like for me, I'll also say like relationships, they are also like a multifaceted like construct, Joe.
Right,
It's for me, like I also say like relationships are faceted into like so many intricate pieces of like perspectives. You can actually break them down into like minor fragments
right,
that will just like leave you stressed, confused, and also like amused. That's crazy. Because for me, like another thing that I always say is that like everything is subjective, Joe. Based on like how you look at it, ne,
right.
everything is subjective, Joe. For
100%.
for instance, ne, most people who've never been robbed, ne, they would laugh at you if you actually tell them that you were robbed. But once they've been robbed, they can actually like
Understand.
associate themselves
Mm.
with like your line of understanding now.
Right,
As to
right,
like,
right,
I was once not a victim, but
right,
once I became a victim, now I understand. So
right.
me saying like everything is subjective, ne,
Mhm.
it's also like coming across a criminal telling me as to like why they rob people.
Right,
They have like their own like subject matter that
right.
aids them in reasoning as to why. But
Yes.
me also being like a victim of like someone who's been robbed by a criminal, I also have my own subject matter that is also
Right,
aiding me into
right,
actually saying, but what you're doing is wrong. So you see, both of us are having like different forms of like associations to an an issue that could be solved if we put our differences aside. But being that like everything is subjective, ne, one person would feel like they are right, and also the other person would want to feel like they are right.
I've heard a saying which goes like this: your viewpoint informs your point of view.
Yeah. So like to me, like hence I always say like I highly repeat this thing every time when I'm having a discussion with someone. Uguti, everything is subjective, Joe.
Yeah,
Regardless as to
yeah,
what you're saying, everything is subjective. Because
right,
you could actually say, no, kids of today are actually swayed by the night lights.
right,
And they would say, hey, Joe, like you had your time to actually be in the same position that I'm in. You
right.
enjoyed it. Why are you now vehemently fighting so much?
Mm,
Uguti, me, I should not like indulge in like fermented grapes and the
right,
night lights.
right,
Why?
right,
Because like in most cases, most of the people that are actually saying don't be doing this, they've done it, Joe, and they came up with like
mm,
their own
mm,
conclusion. But
right,
why can't I do it and then I come up with like my own conclusion? Because
right,
Joe, you can go to a club and groove just the way you twirl and swell your body, Joe. Someone would say, I want that person in my music video, and now you're getting paid.
right,
Imagine, because
right.
I know of so many people, Joe, who met like someone who put them onto something at a club from just a conversation that happened in a matter of like 5 minutes when they were out.
Right.
So let's say like I was home, Joe.
You wouldn't have met that person.
And I didn't get to meet that person. What am I gonna say? Because another thing that also makes me say that like everything is subjective, like every now and then, is that look at technology, bruh.
Right.
Like parents will be hell-bent on telling their kids, oh, like this thing is bad for you. But we have like a looming fourth industrial revolution where kids need to be equipped with like so many technological advancements to a point where like you just need to know a whole lot of things concerning technology. And then you ask yourself, Woody, let's say like you're saying like the phone is bad, you shouldn't be on the phone so much, Joe. It's messing up your brain. And then funny reason, like the parent comes back, she's like, oh, or he or she is like, I forgot to scan my files, and now I don't know any internet shop that's open. And you're like, there's fake scan that you can download from the Play Store. You scan your documents and they appear like they were scanned by a scan.
Right.
And then now she's gonna have a different perspective as to why you're always on the phone. It changes because she had to have like a minor inconvenience for her to actually see the worth as to why it is you're always on the phone.
And I guess that's why quotes like ignorance is bliss doesn't apply everywhere.
Joe, like for me, hence I'm a big believer in saying that everything is subjective, Joe. Because there are people who are benefiting from crime, who are benefactors of crime. But as soon as like crime happens to them, now they don't advocate for crime. You see that like now the whole thing is actually subjective, and now you begin to have like another episode of like a cognitive dissonance, and then you 100%. End up dying from like paralysis by analysis, Joe. And you're like, wow.
Right.
At me now, I'm caught up in between two opposing truths, Joe.
I completely agree with you, and I think that's why when it comes to children, children when they're young, they believe everything their parents tell them. As they become teenagers, once they start acquiring certain information, they start realizing that their parents just don't know everything, right? Fine. But then, as they get a bit older, they realize that some of the nuggets of wisdom their parents are telling them are actually true because they haven't gone through certain things. Like, let's say the child now becomes a parent themselves and they don't know what to do. Then all of a sudden, everything that their parents are saying regarding raising children is now factual. You know? So now they start realizing that they don't know everything. So you're absolutely right. Everything is subjective, and it's a hard pill to swallow because most of us would like to believe that certain things aren't subjective. But there's a guy called Kevin Trudeau who said that everything is an opinion. Nothing is really a fact.
It's also same as saying like everything is subjective, Joe.
Right.
It's the same thing. Hence, like for me, Joe, like one thing that I've seen is that you can't go through life having one form of like moral compass, Joe.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
You can't, because you end up coming across as like you're a hater, even though you are not. Hence, I'm like, Joe, like I have friends who are part of like so many religious groups and beliefs,
right?
And we all like coexist in one space to a point where, oh no, can I just like say I'll call back and then we carry on?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay, let me.
Okay, you can text me, no?
No, wait, hello.
Oh, okay.
Mama ngikhona ngicela ukufonela ngibhizi ngisefonini na someone. Okay, sharp.
Oh, I misunderstood you for a second.
Oh yeah, I'm back.
Sure.
Sorry about that.
No problem, no problem, no problem.
Yeah, so yeah, as I
What are your
was
thoughts? Oh, sorry. Please continue. Please continue. I'll
no,
ask you.
like you can ask me because I was about to ask what was I saying again?
Oh, I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts about people like Kanye West who are not in any box and they speak their mind? Sometimes it does get them into trouble, but have have traits of people that have seemingly changed the world for the better. What are your thoughts on people like that? Your Albert Einstein, your Steve Jobs, your Kanye Wests of the world.
For me, another thing that I'm gonna say is that like everything is subjective once again. But here's my drift when it comes to like things concerning Kanye West, man. Of course, we're not gonna take away like his improvements and advancements that he's made based on like what he does, ne?
Right.
But at the end of the day, ne, most of the things that he has like the guts to actually like regurgitate and put out there, ne, those are some of the intrusive thoughts that we battle with as black people.
100%.
But
100%.
but the problem is that like we're so concerned with like being politically correct, Joe.
Right.
Because for me, if there's one thing that I've seen is that white people would let like another white person just go off the rails and say something that's unhinged, Joe.
Right. Right.
And Joe, no one would bat an eye. Of course, there are gonna be some who are gonna be like, nah, that's wrong. You should be called out.
But they're not called out.
But they are not called out, Joe.
Right.
So you see, when it comes to us, ne, we're so quick to condemn one of our own because you see, like it goes back to me saying that like sometimes we grovel at the feet of like white people, Joe. In a situation where you're not even gaining anything out of it, Joe.
Right.
Because Joe, like let me say like one thing, Joe. Like you have like Abo R. Kelly, who are part of like our black community, and then you have like Abo Harvey Weinstein, who are part of the white community. Abo you have Najo, who are part of the white community. And Joe, like the same thing that like R. Kelly was trying to do is the same thing that Hugh Hefner did, Joe. But to him, it was glorified, and he made a living out of that by doing the whole Playboy magazine and having the Playboy mansion, Joe. It was just like casual old white man spending his money on young girls. That's it, Joe.
Well, the difference with both of them, I guess, is say with Hugh Hefner, those girls were old enough. I guess that's the difference, and they have given him consent. I guess you could say that. But in principle, I get where you're coming from.
But there's also records where like there were young ones involved. You know, like one thing that's sickening about media is that Joe, like they pick and choose as to what they want to show people, Joe. That's the third thing.
Right.
Almost like each and every day, there's people who are outed for being trash and for being whatnot. But people will just be suffering from like a paralysis by analysis. Oh no, I've put this person into like this pedestal and I feel like, it would be wrong me actually condemning him. But let it be me, Joe, like you wouldn't even second guess to condemn me and say, Joe, you're nonsense, you should be locked up in jail. Like, all your deals that are currently happening, they should be like taken away from you. Go and suffer somewhere in a ditch.
Right.
Because, Joe, throughout the world, Joe, there are people who are like global icons, Joe. They do have their own scandals, Joe.
That's true.
And they are out there, but just because we want to pick and choose Uguti, our selective rage for today wants to target Kanye West. Today, it wants to target Mang Mang. Today, it wants to target Mang Mang. And Joe, like, there's a whole lot of people, Joe, the people are gonna vow they cancel them. But uzozumuntu adlalu R. Kelly, Joe, from across your yard. And you're like, you're like, so what's happening? What are we doing? What are we doing?
You know, what we're talking about reminds me of what happened with Peltusi when she posted a photo of herself with her breasts showing. And I commented and I said, you know, the people that are coming for her are watching Game of Thrones and they're watching all these series and movies that show breast all the time, but they don't complain.
You see, for me, let me tell you one thing, ne? One thing I know about that is that, like, in the true essence of like being an African, ne, nudeness has always been there, Joe. It has always been there. You can go back to like old encyclopedias and records of like pictures showing you like African settlements and what they were wearing back then and now. Nudeness has always been there. And like for me, there's also like another thing that I say, half of the people who are condemning Peltusi, they casually sit in the dining room when it's hot with their moms having their breasts out, Joe, and they don't complain.
100%. They take off their bras when they get home and they just let
like Ejone, I kid you not, like show me 100%. A person who's gonna tell me that they've never witnessed that at their household, Joe. I'll tell you they are lying. They are lying. For me, like this is one thing that I always say, Ejone, we've been knowing about nudeness, it's there in our cultures, Joe. Because Ejone, ubobuga when Zulus are getting like married or uglobola or ummemulo, they are there, they show. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna say?
Right. And Shaka Zulu, even the old Shaka Zulu.
Yeah, because our Shaka Zulu, Joe, the only thing they had, it was like a piece of like skin covering the front and back. But kumasina aphakamisa inyawo at the edge, you would see his things out there, Joe.
Right.
But Joe, like for me, this is one thing that I always say, we wanna be politically correct to a point where we're slowly expunging like the true essence of our cultures, just because we wanna substitute it with like modernity and being politically correct all the time, Joe. Joe, like let me say one thing that's also gonna blow your mind out, Joe.
So
was Peltusi at like a kindergarten show when she was having a breast out?
No, she wasn't.
Right. Joe, like most people see people like that clapping and they don't bat an eye.
100%.
Hence, I'm saying we just have like selective rage. The same outfit that Peltusi had, it's someone's daily intrusive thought. They wanna pull that off, but oh no, I have a scar on my back.
Oh, my breasts are too big.
My breasts are too big. Like you can wear whatever you want to, as long as you're not doing it at places where like it's not showing that you
it's
have
inappropriate.
Because it's not like she was at a public event. First of all, it's not like she was in like a kindergarten crèche. Like people should not misconstrue this and say that like maybe I'm advocating for nonsense or ignorance. But Joe, like at the end of the day, most of the things that like these people have the guts to do are mostly like our intrusive thoughts that we battle with on a daily, Joe. Because I know so many people who have the same Peltusi outfit in their closet and they would casually wear it for you when you're at their place. But on social media, Joe, they take out their hexes and eggs. They are butchering the keyboard, Joe, attacking.
It's like that whole man are trash thing, but in the meantime, she's Netflixing and chilling with her boyfriend, or vice versa. Or the guy would say women are trash, but you find that he's busy, giving his girlfriend a pedicure. Then. So it's that cognitive dissonance thing.
Yeah, Joe. For me, I feel like on some issues, Joe, we do suffer from like a paralysis by analysis, Joe.
100%.
To a point where like there's always gonna be two opposing truths, Joe.
Yeah.
Of course, there are men who are scums out there, Joe.
Right.
We can phase that out of like the modern day, Joe. Right. But we can actually say, Udi, you should be held accountable, Joe.
Right.
But also with you being held accountable, Joe, you shouldn't be defeating the ends of justice. That's another thing, Joe.
Right.
Be held accountable based on credentials that were actually verified by the court of law. And then, yes, you are trash, of course. But in most cases, one thing that I've realized is that, like, this is not even a gender war thing or something like that. I know, like, I could get, like, a backlash for saying this, but there's people who are actually perpetrators, but they run so fast to the court of, like, public opinion to actually paint themselves as, like, the victims, too.
So they end up gaslighting other people in the process.
That's the thing.
Right.
That's the thing. For me, like, I don't even want to use stats, but I'm just like speaking from general knowledge. Like emakasana, we know baba obamshayako every time adagiwe, and we're gonna say just because he's an alcoholic, we are delayed, but no, we don't know what we alcoholic because that's like his source of strength. Ukuthi akhona ukumanager situation ekhona because uyashaywa. So sometimes it numbs the pain ukuthi umadakiwe it numbs the pain. But izothi vele ladelela mabamshaye mara let it be one day ubaba azophakamisa izandla uzobona now everyone they're gonna be calling for the defense of the lady, but when the man was being like shamed in public, because there's so many men we know abashisiwe ngamanzi amixwe namafutha
Joe, and that's messed up, man. That's seriously messed up, bro.
Like of men ukuthi umuntu asebenza ikhathi lakhe alibanjwe uye uhlezi aqhuqa washaya isikhathi sokumuka emsebenzini uyagijima because uyazi uma afika endlini uzoshawa, but like everyone bats an eye and then they only want to condemn it on like social media because for me there's one thing that I always say, if we were to actually send in like private investigators to like all houses in the country, there is a thing that you are doing that's morally wrong, but just because the public doesn't know about it,
it's hidden.
You're gonna sit there in your couch and say, no, that's wrong.
Right.
Like
that's why I like songs like Michael Jackson's "Man in the Mirror," where he says, "Look at yourself first. If you want to make a change, take in the mirror and make that change before looking at someone else's."
Like hence for me, like I always say, like there's people who can comfortably be on social media using their actual credentials because they know they have skeletons that they are hiding. It's not like some people they are doing it for like anonymity and stuff like that.
Right.
Because like it's like you watching like the Miss SA pageants, Annually you get like shocking stories like this person was an abuser they abused me, yo. And then now you're like, wow, I didn't see that coming for this person.
Right.
Hey, Joe, like, there's so many of us who are actually like that, Joe. Just that, like, the victims haven't had the guts to actually come out, Joe.
100%. 100%.
For me, like I always say, Joe, everything is subjective, and you're actually like a villain in someone else's life story.
Whether you want to look, even if you do everything right and everything by the book, you will always be a villain in someone's story. That's how it is. And that's something I accepted a while back, actually, to be honest with you. I realized that there's no amount of stories that can ever cancel the person's perspective of you being a villain in their life.
Yeah, like, Joe, like, every day we're being a villain in someone else's life, Joe. You could look at a person, let's say like you're walking and you're looking at something, and then you're like, wow, I didn't see that coming. And just because the person is gonna catch you eye to eye with them, they're like, that's so disgusting, Joe. Why is this person looking at me like that? By default, they hate you, Joe. And you're like, oh well, it's life.
Right.
Because
just by looking at you.
Because another thing, people like to act like we don't all have problems, Joe. You could just like receive like the most worst news to ever hit you in your life, and then your facial expression changes and you're walking in public, and then someone greets you, but you, just because you're languishing in the pain of what you've been told, oh no, this person acted brand new with me, Joe. And when at that time, like, you're lost in context, Joe, you're trying to you're trying to make up with like what's currently happening in your life, but boom, no, you were acting brand new. I saw you kai, and you're like, boom, you're a villain in someone else's life.
Someone said something quite profound. They said just because two people happen to be laughing at the same time and just so happen to look at you while laughing, doesn't necessarily mean that they were talking about you. They could just have been talking about something else, and then they were just looking, and then they saw you, and you're thinking, these people are talking about me. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, bruh, like, at the end of the day, Joe, I just feel like wanting to be politically correct, it has swayed like a whole lot of people into being like the versions of themselves that they never thought they would be, but now they actually are, Joe.
And they have to maintain that facade now.
Yeah, because half of the people that actually condemn you in like the court of like public opinion, once it's been proven and you've been vindicated that you're actually not the perpetrator, they don't ever come back and say sorry.
Right. They'll tell you, I don't have to apologize, or I don't owe you anything, type of thing.
But if it was them, what would they've been demanding? Apology.
An apology. Right.
Hence, like, for me, like I always say with Ejo, like, sometimes the best thing you can do in your life, sit indoors and just like explore the things that you love, Joe. Cause just being outside, like, you're bound to catch a wind of something that's just gonna ruin your day.
Right.
Sometimes even your career as a whole. Because like now, like in the court of like public opinion, when you're having like two opposing truths, Joe, like they can easily like dial up your history and look at like who you work for, and now you're fired.
Yeah. Which is sad because you cannot take away, I once asked someone this question, and I said, if someone was abiding by the law for 35 years or 40 years of their life, and just so happened to be in a situation where they accidentally kill someone, do they really deserve to be labeled a murderer for the rest of their life? Because this person was not necessarily a murderer for 35 years. They were law-abiding citizens, but now we're painting them with this brush as if that's their entire identity, which I think there's a bit of in as much as what has been done is unfortunate and it's wrong, I just feel that it's unfair to be labeling this whole person as this thing. I don't know if I'm making sense.
I do get you. I do get you.
Because that person could be a hero in someone else's life.
Because I know of like so many dads who actually had like their kids molested or even raped, and they took the law to their own hands. Yes, like I know, like people would say it's wrong, but let's say like the perpetrator actually said, okay, I'm gonna defeat the ends of justice, and then they let me go. Do you think that actually sits well with like someone who's gonna say that person was a perpetrator into like the vilifying of like my daughter's innocence? Me seeing them out and not actually serving time, that means the law has failed me.
Right.
Because another thing that I always say is that shouldn't we actually be also like administering the same law to the law itself?
We should.
We should, but why is it a big hoo-ha when people actually do it?
Yeah, that's a rhetorical question, but I get where you headed.
But you see, it also goes back to me saying like everything it is subjective, Joe.
Right.
But it's such a shame, Udi, like in our country, Joe, the law is so foul, Udi, Joe, you don't even expect justice from anything that you'd ever go to the police station and report.
We're almost running out of time, unfortunately, but I'd really like to do a part 2 with you.
Sure.
Because I think that we can uncover a lot of topics. But I just want to ask you one last question. What are your thoughts on politics?
For me personally, I know my friends, they always say I sound like a politic. I'm not a politician and I'm not affiliated with like any political party.
Right.
But for me, I'll just say like politics is politics, Joe.
Right.
Like everyone is gonna be moving the polymath as they want to, Joe.
100%.
So you see, if people can move the polymath as they want to, that means they're in politicking you. Because another thing that I've seen is that like politics use a lot of like semantics. They rely on feelings.
100%.
They rely on feelings too.
100%.
Like they only want a perpetrator to atone to the truth when they feel like it's convenient for them to actually get a win at something. Because so many of our politicians, Joe, they've been caught like lying.
Right.
So many cases, Joe, but no. Have you seen them getting condemned and jailed? No. You actually know that like if this person is gonna be arrested, like they won't even spend a day or an hour in prison. They just drive through prison and they are done.
Drive through.
Joe, like prison should just be called like correctional drive-throughs, Joe.
So does this mean that you won't be voting next year?
No, I will be voting, but for me, like I'm not voting from a stance where like I'm actually saying that politicians are gonna save me.
Right.
They're gonna save my life. They're gonna save my career. No politician is out to save you, Joe.
Right.
They just want more seats, more profits, more splits. That's all they
want.
Power. Joe, like the only time a politician is saying black power, Joe, just know they are eating off you, Joe. It's just like the same thing as like an artist, you know, like when someone is talking about black empowerment before you actually discuss like the job at hand, you know, they don't want to pay you.
It's gonna be a conversation about favors and my brother.
Trust me, not bruh. Every time I've had like someone speaking about we should lift each other up as black people, I know they don't want to pay the full balance. But me, when I'm procuring their product, they want me to pay the full balance.
Right.
So I'm like, but Joe, like for me, politics, I'm not a fan. Like I do see there are people who are actually like doing them from a point of doing good, but once they get caught and called into the corner, they keep mum, and then now they start chowing proceeds. Because you've seen like so many people who are vocal about so many things going south in our country, and then boom, they get called to speak with whoever, and now they are working for that department and they go silent. It's like they just like buy your silence and they are done with you.
Because we do have a price to some degree.
For me, all I'm saying is that everything is subjective and everyone has a price, Joe. I kid you not, Joe. Like, let's not even like. For me, this is one topic where I always say, with Ejone, in life, you should never lie. Like you don't have a price.
Right.
You should never lie, because some people, it's not like they have a price, but they do have something that they want, and they would disregard any sort of like moral compass there 100%. Is in this world to actually 100%. Get what is it they want. So 100%. You see, like everything is subjective again. But that's the sad thing about life too. Everyone has a price. And yeah, there is always someone who has like that price, and they will gladly pay that price.
Wow, my brother, thank you so much, man, for your time.
Yeah, like I know I took like the wrong segue of like taking the conversation somewhere.
No. But don't worry, it's fine. This podcast is called Mr. Mrextrodin Talks, so it's about talking. And in as much as I looked at your art and I was impressed by it, now I'm impressed by your mind as well. So I'm glad that I didn't only just get to meet the artist, but I also got to meet the man. That's what I'm saying. I'm sure we should do a part 2 soon and unpack some of these things, because ultimately I think artists have been given a certain perspective or perception, because most people don't really see us as academics. But I've noticed that should you give artists a chance to speak up, you'll be reminded of artists that came before us who were so academic that they were given global platforms to speak in certain areas, in certain places, in certain universities. And they're often quoted for years to come and years of old. So, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. And I hope that, man, we shall have more. I hope you can be a regular guest on this platform.
I'm unemployed and I do have time in my hands. But let me ask you one question.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you get this question asked a lot. You're related to who I want to say, right?
Nobody has ever actually asked me this question on this platform. I've been asked maybe on WhatsApp or on YouTube.
No, like you see, I don't want to mention names, but you know.
Yes. Okay. Before I answer, is it my surname that gave it away?
Yeah, it's your surname. Not because I feel like it's a surname, and based on also your location, I was like, no, like it can't be. It can't be like there is relations there. But,
yeah.
But yeah, like his mental drift, it is like really great.
Right.
It is great, bro, because like everything he does, it's just like that's cool.
We are related. His father is my mother's older brother.
That's so cool, bro.
Yeah.
It must be nice letting him like pick your brain, because he is like very, very intellectual. Like,
no, he is. Look, trust me, we have had such conversations 4 years, and it's just that I'm hardly mentioned anyway. But in our secret spaces, he does say, "You know what, man? You have been influential in my life, and he has been influential in my life as well." So it's an exchange.
No, cause I know there's like one artwork he makes, and then he delves into like the real issues that are actually like being battled by most people who are in Africa who are black, and you're like, wow, this
family related issues.
Not family related issues, but like in terms of like government and just like how they are doing things.
Wait. Please mention the name of the person you're talking about. Maybe this is not the person I think you're talking about.
It is the person you're thinking about, but he does do that.
Really?
Yeah, Nagan, what do you listen to?
maybe I forgot, but the government. Okay.
Trust me, ne? I'll send you a title of one artwork, and then you listen to it, and then you'll be like, oh, I see.
Oh yeah. Please do that.
Yeah. So like, you see, you are almost like you don't know who I'm talking about, but yeah, great.
No. I think I get an idea of who you're talking about. I mean, you know that he has a brother, right?
Yeah, I know, but you know who I'm talking about. So
okay. But man, thank you once again. I have to attend another session with someone else. I'm sure you know him, Bright Clela. You know the animator Bright Clela.
Oh, also you see, like I forgot to mention Bright Clela.
Right.
Oh, bruh. He's the one who's also working with like the guy who does the Noko Mashaba animations, right?
The Rams comics guys. I don't know about that. Maybe he might tell me about it, but I don't know.
Yeah, because he does like animations that do trend like a lot in those cases. That's him. He's like another dope guy, bro. Like you see, like those guys, they are gonna take the country somewhere to
100%.
They are, because like you should always like think about the scale it takes for a whole studio to do stuff that are interesting, and then you get one person doing it solo, and then you ask yourself,
how?
That's a powerhouse right there. That's a creative powerhouse right there.
Right. No, my man. Let me love and leave you, but let's keep the conversation going. Please send me your number, maybe on WhatsApp, so that we can keep the conversation going. But I truly appreciate your time. And like I said, we'll definitely have more of these sessions. Guys, thank you so much for watching this. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and please check Phulusho. I will send a link to his Facebook profile so that you can check his artwork. He does some brilliant stuff. He did this a video of an archer. Brilliant. He did this guy with an afro and emojis and stuff. Brilliant artwork. So yeah, please check him out, and feel free, man, to like and subscribe. Like and follow his stuff and comment on his artwork and let him know.
One thing about that piece, it goes back to me actually saying that like we should actually like love and see ourselves in like a better light, but like I was sort of like saying it in like a modern and colloquial way as to like people that would actually relate to it, because like now we're in the era of like addressing our emotions through emojis, so I feel like it would have been like a better delivery so that like people actually do get it where I'm trying to take it.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, my brother. No, we'll talk later, ne?
Away.
Sure.
Away.